Lord Tremendous here, and I got another battle report here for you. This is a local gaming store escalation tournament that my, local gaming store did. It was great. 4 rounds, and every round the points shifted. First round was 1,000, second was 1,300, third was 1,700, and the fourth is 2 grand. So, this is the first round, and it is I, Lord Tremendous of the Varangur, versus Curious George of the Kingdom of Men. And it's just kind of neat because I got to try out the new ideas I had from the list after getting my ass kicked at the Lone Wolf. But it's actually a lot of fun. This is a good game, and it's an encouraging game. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see how it goes. Here's my list, and it's small. I have a Chieftain, Blackshade. He's got Brutal Mountain Staying Stone, because why mess with a good thing? And I also have a Magus, Elizabeth. Yes, I've changed her kit and who she is. She's got a Mount, Drain Life, Inspiring Talisman, and Famulous. I'm taking a wizard now, and Elizabeth has changed from the Brute Enforcer to the Caster, because honestly, I wanted to try it out after playing at the Lone Wolf and seeing how people did, and, well, you'll see how it works out. The rest of my list consists of a unit of Mounted Sons of Korgan as a regiment. They have Fury and the Pipes of Terror, and I gave them the Pipes of Terror because I had a few points left over at the end. I've got a Reavers troop, the True Valdezes, and dear God, that unit. And then, of course, I brought my Warband Horde with 2-handed weapons and the Crystal of Retribution, because I just honestly love that unit. That's going to do it for my list. I'm going to post my opponent's list, play some music. Feel free to pause it whenever you like, see what he took. The scenarios for these games came straight out of the original rulebook. We got Scenario 3 for this one, Dominate. At the end of the game, add up the cost of all your units that are entirely within 12 inches of the center of the playing area. That's your score. Your opponent does the same, and you compare the scores. You got to have 10% more than your opponent to get a win, otherwise it's a draw or a loss, depending. So, if you played this game, you know what Dominate is. But yes, that is the scenario for this game. Here's deployment, and yes, before you say anything, I know it should have been on a 4x4 table. The tournament organizer decided it was going to be on a 6x4 because that's what the tables were set up for, and so we played on a 6x4. It's not like we needed the room, but it is what it is. So everything is pretty much just shot off right in the center right after each other because nobody wants to end up on the other side of the table. I've got Elizabeth. She's obviously on her koi fish in the forest there on the left side. In the middle, I've got my Warband, and behind them are my Reavers. Basically, Warband goes forward, and when it finally destroys itself or it gets destroyed and blows up, the Reavers move in and mop up what's ever left. And then I've got, I forgot the model with my Chieftain on it. So I improvised, and I used my Lone Wolf dog model, because it's on the cavalry base. So that's what the little 2-headed dog is. That's my Chieftain, Blackshade. And then the Mounted Sons are right next to him. Plan is to shoot forward and beat these guys up. I have him with Nerve. I had a feeling. I don't have a whole lot of experience with Kingdoms of Men, but he seems to have shooting. I'm going to come forward. I'm going to shoot at him. Hopefully do enough damage, to waver him, and then just get a hold of him and beat him down because his nerve checks are going to be a lot lower than mine. And that's it for deployment. Here's top of 1 after movement, and I got to go first, and I shot forward. There was no reason not to. Everything came forward pretty much as fast as it could. Elizabeth and the Warband and the Reavers were all kind of slowed down by the forest, is what it is, but the Chieftain and the Mounted Sons fired around the side pretty far. So next turn, I've got possible charges, and that's it for movement. Elizabeth comes equipped with a lightning bolt, and she fires it at the one of the units of men, one of the shooting units, and I think with a crossbow, guys, and does 3 out of 4 wounds to him, which is not terrible. I think that's a 3. That might be a 2. But she does some wounds to him. It's not enough to waver him, but it is a start, and I think I'm going to like having her as a caster. That brings us to bottom 1 after movement, and they come forward, not as aggressively as I did, which makes sense, but yes, his infantry does come forward, like, bring it on, bro, and his shooters just kind of hang back and are like, yeah, we're going to shoot you in a minute, you know it's coming. And nothing super crazy about it, we're just going to end up beating the crap out of each other, and that's it for movement. During his Panzer Phase, his caster casts heal on a unit I did 3 wounds to, and his heals 1 off of him, which, not a huge big deal, they still got 2. And then his archers, or whatever he has, shoots at my warband and does 4 wounds to him. It's not enough to so much as waver him, but definitely got the better exchange on the range attacks this round. Turns go quick at 1,000 points. Here's top of 2 after movement, and I go in. You know what? I got the time, I got the patience. I want to see what happens. So the Mounted Sons and the Chieftain go into his Horde Brick. The Warband, the Reavers, and Elizabeth all move forward, daring him to charge my Warband. And that's it for movement. In the Panzer Phase, Elizabeth fires another lightning bolt at that little chaff unit there, doing 2 more wounds to him, bringing their total up to 4. And that sees them off the table, which actually was probably a stupid idea. I probably should have shot at one of the bigger bricks. I didn't realize that this nerve was going to be that low. I should have. I wasn't paying attention. I was just having fun. And yeah, I killed the unit. Whoop-de-doo. Now his infantry is going to be able to charge the flank of my guys. That was stupid. But I don't regret it because I killed something, and I feel good about that. We go into combat, and the combined might of my Mounted Sons and my Chieftain, Blackshade, do 10 wounds to his Horde Brick. Not terrible. Not terrible at all. I rolled a little weak for the Mounted Sons, I admit it, but he has like phalanx or something like that, so it was harder for me to hit him. Still, 10 wounds? I can deal with that. The resulting nerve check wavers the unit, and that is good news. I don't break them, I gotta back off an inch, but at least they're not gonna countercharge me next turn. So I get another shot at him. I'm excited. That brings us to bottom of 2 after movement, and my opponent goes all in. His Horde Brick obviously just kind of sticks around, but his Infantry Brick that was behind the chaff last turn charges into the flank of my Chieftain. And I'm like, yep, I'm in trouble here. I'm going to lose my Chieftain, and I'm very possibly going to lose my Mounted Sons. I don't know how good this unit is in combat, but I know that they just doubled their attacks. So, well, not against the Chieftain, but they will against the Mounted Sons. So that bothers me, but it's like, you know what? I made a mistake, and now I got to deal with it. His other unit of infantry charges into the warband, and I'm perfectly fine with that because I honestly don't believe that they're going to be able to break me unless there's some sort of crazy good unit. And other than that, his characters just kind of push around to put out Inspiring and be able to heal things up, and that's it for movement. During the Panzer Phase, his caster casts Heal, or uses the healing charm on his Horde Brick and heals 1 wound off of him, bringing him down to 9. And then I believe he casts Drain Life on the Mounted Sons, doing a single wound to them and healing the brick for 1 more, bringing their total of wounds to 8. This guy's on the hill, not really having a better target, fire at Elizabeth and do a single wound to her. Thank you, Independent, or Individual, and Forest. That was very nice. Then we go into combat, and his infantry brick slamming into my Chieftain, Blackshade, does 5 wounds. He rolls awful. He really does. The unit's not great at combat, but he did really roll terrible. His dice were definitely on my team. But 5 wounds, Blackshade can survive that easily. And he does. No sweat at all. They back off an inch, and I breathe a huge sigh of relief, because that should have went the other way. He should be dead, and my Mounted Son should be dead. I got lucky as hell here. Next up, this combat over here is other unit of infantry do 5 more wounds to my warband, bringing their total up to 9. My warband is perfectly fine. He backs off an inch, and I will see them next turn. That brings us to top of 3 after movement, and there's counter charges galore. My warband countercharges the unit that just attacked them. My Mounted Sons charge in, as well as Blackshade, charge back into the Horde Brick because, well, honestly, I don't think Blackshade could have countercharged that smaller unit that charged him and done anything. So we go back into the big Horde Brick hoping to break it this turn. If not, well, the game's over. Damn it, I'm trying. Elizabeth moves further up into the forest to get a better shot at the guys on top of the hill, and the Reavers, they just hang back and wait their turn to shine. That is it for movement. In the Panzer Phase, Elizabeth fires off her lightning bolt at the guys that shoot and does a single wound to them. It was a static electricity discharge more than anything. Then we dive into combat. My warband goes first, and they do 9 wounds to this little unit of infantry. Not terrible, not great, but not terrible. I'll take 9 wounds. That was enough to break his unit, though, and I fire my guys forward to try to get closer to the guys on top of the hill. I go forward like 6 full inches, too, which really wasn't what I wanted to do, but it is what it is. I end up right where I'm at, and not terrible, not terrible. Good job, warband. This combat against the Horde Brick, though, does not go well. 30 attacks total, still at -1 to hit, and I'm able to do 6 wounds. I was not happy about that at all. Lucky for me, though, it was enough, and the unit popped. So my Mounted Sons, they come forward. They're trying to get the hell out of there just in case. The Chieftain stays right where he's at to just kind of block that shot again. And that's it. His Horde Brick is down. Even the flag fell off. So I'm hoping it's enough. They still might take out my Chieftain. They still might take out my Mounted Sons. But I think I've got enough left to win this game. So here's bottom of 3 after movement. His infantry go back into my Chieftain, and I know it's a gamble, but I'm hoping that his dice rolling stays poor and that Blackshade can withstand it, because he's a 15-17 with that stay in stone. He's not easy to break. The rest of his guys just kind of move around to get out of the way. His shooters back up a little bit, and that's it for movement. In the Panzer Phase, his caster uses the healing charm on his shooter unit, taking a couple of wounds off of him. And then his other guy, he uses Drain Life on my Mounted Sons, doing a single wound to them. I don't believe he heals anybody with it, because I don't think there's anybody around that's hurt. But, yeah, now my Mounted Sons have 2 wounds on him. His shooter unit fires at the warband, putting 4 more wounds on him, bringing their total up to 13. And I'd be lying if I said that didn't make me nervous as hell. And I'm right to be nervous. It wavers the unit, and they do not have Fury. Not that it would matter, and they do not have Headstrong. And, yeah, they're going to sit there for a turn. That sucks. Well played by my opponent, though. That brings us into combat, and you know what? Consistency. This unit does another 5 wounds to my Chieftain. I'm puckering at this point, because I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to lose this entire right flank. Please hold, Blackshade. Please hold! And he hears me. My opponent rolls low and is only able to waver him. Oh, I was so happy. He backs off an inch, and he's got Brutal, so he's not going to be able to do anything next turn, but he's not dead, and my Mounted Sons are okay. Oh, gambling. I don't know why I keep doing it. I should just start playing smart for a change. Here's top of 4 after movement, and it's a little bit of a desperation thing. Not a desperation thing, but just kind of like, okay, I need to really capitalize on this. So in order to let my Reavers, the true Valdez, charge into the infantry unit, I have to change facing on my warband. And I don't want to give up a flank into his shooters, because I don't know how good they are in combat. So I angle them such a way that the Reavers can get past, and they do, and they charge the rear of that infantry unit. 60 attacks at Thunderous Charge 2 with Vicious. Oh, so sexy. The Mounted Sons charge his little guy with the healing charm because he has to die. What's it called? My Chieftain turns around to face the other character because honestly, I don't believe his infantry are going to survive the Reavers. And Elizabeth runs over to try to cast a little Drain Life on him and heal the warband unit. That's it for movement. In the Panzer Phase, as promised, Elizabeth fires off Drain Life at the infantry unit, doing 2 wounds to them and healing 2 wounds off the warband. Very sexy. We go into combat, and the true Valdez unit of Reavers does 30 wounds to this infantry unit, bringing their total up to 32. Yeah, you don't want true Valdez in your rear. You don't want that. Yeah, the unit is obliterated in true fashion, and I just kind of leave him there. Right? We tilt slightly, change facing a little bit, just to kind of look it over at his other character to just put a little bit more pressure on him, and that's it. I'm so pleased with this unit right now. My Mounted Sons end up doing 8 wounds to his little independent character there with a healing charm. I think it's just like an army standard or something. But yeah, 8 wounds. Not great rolling, but should be good enough. The little bastard crumples before my might, and my Mounted Sons just change facing to look at the guys on the hill going, oh yeah, we're coming. This is happening. So here's bottom of 4 after movement, and my opponent keeps on trucking. His unit on the hill stays put, but his caster backs up a little bit to fire a spell off at, what's-his-face, at Blackshade, and that's it for movement. In the Panzer Phase, I believe his caster fires off Drain Life at Blackshade and does 2 more wounds to him, bringing him to a total of 12. And he's limping. He's limping a bit here, I'm not going to lie. And Blackshade dies. He routs. He was a hero this game. He was. He did really well, but in the end, he will not be at the victory party. Very dead. His shooters on the hill fire off at my Reavers, doing a couple of wounds to him, but it won't be enough to even waver him, so it is what it is. That brings us to top of 5 after movement, and I leave the Warband, the Reavers, and Elizabeth right where they are because I have to be within 12 inches in the middle of the field to score, and I send the Mounted Sons into the flank of his archer guys because they have to die, and that's it for movement. In the Panzer Phase, Elizabeth fires off a lightning bolt at his character in the forest and is able to do a single wound to him. That is actually enough to waver the guy. I roll way out of the box, he wavers, and he ain't doing anything next turn, which is actually enough to finally just my opponent is like, that's enough. There it is. There's the end of the game. He's like, you know what? My caster's not going to do anything next turn. You're about to mutilate my archers. I can't beat you. even if I did send the guy forward, I'm not going to be able to get enough points to even so much as get a draw. The game's over. You've won. So we shake hands, and we end the game right here. Not a bad first outing for my list changes and stuff like that. Elizabeth was amazing. The True Valdez unit of Reavers was just game-ending. That unit is too good. Thank you, Valdez. Thank you. And, of course, everything really just pulled its weight here. Even the Mounted Sons were amazing. Really, really solid army at 1,000 points. And, gosh, I couldn't be happier. But we'll get right into the recap because this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
So in the end, it was an obvious victory for Lord Tremendous. My opponent conceded at the top of 5. I got 805 points in the middle. He got none for a 12-0 battle point victory. I believe that's what it was. We were using a chart in the book, and I don't remember exactly. But I won. That's really what I care about. I ended up just losing Blackshade, and he died a hero's death. So who am I to complain? Needless to say, Elizabeth, as always, was amazing this game. Her lightning bolts and her drain life just really constantly put pressure on my opponent that I didn't have before. I'm really happy with her change. The Chieftain, of course, did really well, as expected. The way he held off that guy, infantry unit in his flank for multiple turns. Wow. And then, of course, the Reavers. The true Valdezes of the Reavers doing 30 wounds to the rear of that infantry unit. Holy crap. 1,000 points is a lot of fun. I didn't expect it to be that fun, to be honest. My Mounted Sons, of course, did really, really well. I wish I had rolled a little bit better for them, but I'm a greedy brat, so, you know, that doesn't really say anything about them. It says more about me. I'm toying with maybe at because we're getting ready for, I think it's Bayou Battles, and that's in August, and maybe 2 units of Mounted Sons. I don't know, maybe Fallen. Right now I've got the models for the Fallen, so that really kind of tilts my favor in that direction. But we'll see, we'll see. But so far, I'm loving the new additions to the list. Elizabeth and the True Valdezes are amazing. So I'm excited. I'm excited that the list is doing so well. This was a really fun game, though. I really enjoyed it, especially at such a low point level. I didn't really think that the challenge was going to be there, but I won't lie. I had my seat, but I only needed the edge. Curious George is a really fun opponent. We had a lot of fun. I felt bad because his dice were really on my team like the entire game, but he was cool about it the whole time. Didn't get salty or anything like that. And what more can you ask for in an opponent? Definitely looking forward to a rematch. But that's going to do it. Battle Report number 25 is officially in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But as always, thanks.